The fluorescent lights hummed softly as I sat at my desk, the familiar rhythm of keyboard clicks surrounding me. The news of a new branch manager had buzzed through the office for days, but no one could have predicted the impact Brittany Wilson would have on our tranquil work environment. The morning sun spilled through the blinds as the door swung open, revealing a woman in her 40s with an air of unwavering confidence. Brittany Wilson, our new branch manager, swept into the room with a brisk stride. Her tailored suit exuded authority, and her eyes scanned the office with a piercing gaze. I exchanged glances with my colleagues, and the unspoken question lingered in the air. What changes would she bring? As she approached my desk, the atmosphere shifted. I rose to greet her with a polite smile, unsure of what to expect. "Good morning, Ms. Johnson," she said, extending a hand. "I'm Brittany Wilson, your new branch manager. I've heard a lot about the experienced staff here, and I'm eager to revitalize this branch for optimal performance nationwide." Her words were laced with determination, and I couldn't help but feel a subtle undercurrent of challenge. "Nice to meet you, Ms. Wilson," I replied, attempting to match her professionalism. "We've always taken pride in our work here. If you need anything, don't hesitate to ask." As Brittany continued her introductory speech at the morning meeting, I observed her strong-willed demeanor and noted the way her words were met with uncertain glances from my colleagues. The assistant manager discreetly gestured towards me, introducing me as the most experienced staff member. After the meeting, as Brittany and the assistant manager approached me, I maintained a friendly facade. "Gloria, can I have a word?" Brittany inquired. "Sure, what's up?" I replied with a smile, though an uneasy feeling gnawed at me. "This is Brittany, our new branch manager. Brittany, this is Gloria Johnson, our most experienced staff member," the assistant manager introduced. Brittany's eyes assessed me with a critical gaze. "Pleased to meet you, Brittany. I might not be as impressive as the assistant manager claims, but I do my best every day," I said, attempting to diffuse any tension. "Nice to meet you too. You seem to suit window cleaning quite well," she remarked, a sly smirk playing on her lips. "Excuse me," I stammered, taken aback. "I thought you were the janitor for a moment." The comment hung in the air, leaving me speechless. The assistant manager hastily guided them away, leaving me to grapple with the unexpected insult. Nearby, a young colleague cleaning up scattered magazines voiced her sympathy. "Do I really look like a janitor?" "Of course not. You certainly have the mood of a dependable mother, but definitely have the presence of a veteran banker," she reassured me. The encounter lingered in my mind, setting the stage for the turbulent days that lay ahead. The following days at the bank unfolded with a sense of anticipation and anxiety. The unsettling encounter with Brittany Wilson on her first day lingered in the air, casting a shadow over our once harmonious workplace. As the routine tasks resumed, the whispers among colleagues grew louder, fueled by shared grievances about Brittany's brash introduction. In the break room, the murmurs reached a crescendo as we cleaned up our respective areas. The assistant manager, sensing the tension, attempted to restore a semblance of normalcy by discussing the day's tasks. While wiping the windows in the waiting area, I couldn't shake the feeling of being evaluated, not for my skills or experience, but for something more superficial. Brittany's comment about mistaking me for the janitor echoed in my mind, and I wondered if this was a precursor to a more significant clash of values. The routine of the bank continued under the looming cloud of Brittany Wilson's unsettling presence. As days passed, the initial shock of the encounter evolved into a bitter routine of enduring Brittany's relentless criticisms. Every morning as the sun spilled through the blinds, Brittany would bury herself in the morning newspaper at the manager's desk. Her sighs of exasperation became a signal for the daily ritual. Unexpectedly, she would call me over with an imperious wave of her hand. "I'm reading the newspaper here," Brittany would say, her tone expecting compliance. I would nod, trying to hide my growing frustration. "Oh, don't you get it? Could you make me some coffee?" The request hit me like a personal affront. Okay, sure. "Just a moment," I would reply, my unease palpable as I retreated to the break room to prepare her coffee. In the break room, I overheard a male colleague venting to a female colleague about Brittany's aggressive management style. She criticized my performance from last month. "It's ridiculous. I had the worst contract, but normally that's not the case. It was just a coincidence this time," he explained, frustration evident in his voice. I sympathized with his predicament, having felt the weight of Brittany's critiques myself. I was told that my performance was not good enough and that I need to work harder to achieve results. It was just bad luck that the deals I was working on last month were delayed and only came through this month, he continued, his exasperation growing. As I prepared Brittany's coffee, I couldn't help but feel a sense of injustice. The break room buzzed with colleagues sharing similar stories, creating an atmosphere of discontent. The assistant manager, overhearing the complaints, shook his head in disapproval, realizing the toll Brittany's leadership was taking on morale. Later, I found myself in the break room just to make coffee for Brittany, contemplating the situation. A colleague approached me, sensing my frustration. I consider myself a grown adult, so I didn't say anything. But I really wanted to shout, "What the hell is with this branch manager?" I confided, "It's a tough situation. Maybe it's not entirely wrong to say you have a motherly presence. She's certainly off to a bad start on her first day," the colleague observed, attempting to offer solace. "It's hard to tell," I admitted, regretting asking for an opinion, but realizing that perhaps being motherly was not entirely inaccurate. The break room continued to buzz with discontent, setting the stage for the challenging days that lay ahead. As the days unfolded with Brittany Wilson at the helm, the ominous atmosphere in the bank became increasingly palpable. Brittany's aggressive management style reached a tipping point, culminating in an unexpected and devastating announcement that would forever alter the course of my career. One ordinary morning, after the routine of fetching Brittany's coffee, she summoned me to her desk with an air of finality. "Gloria, can I have a word?" she asked, her tone betraying no hint of the bombshell she was about to drop. "Yes, what is it?" I replied cautiously, sensing an impending confrontation. "What exactly is your job here?" Brittany questioned abruptly, her eyes narrowing in scrutiny. I hesitated, taken aback by the directness of her inquiry. "Currently, I mainly assist with the counter tasks. If anyone has questions, they usually come to me. I also handle various tasks, including cleaning inside the bank and checking the parking lot." Brittany sighed in exasperation, her impatience apparent. "So, you're not really doing any significant work, are you?" she declared, her tone dismissive. "Well, no. I also support counter operations, and sometimes a single employee can't handle everything. I'm here to assist and ensure things run smoothly," I explained, attempting to defend the value of my contributions. Brittany's eyes bore into me with a critical gaze. "Supporting counter operations, which even a single employee can handle. That seems like a waste of payroll to me. So, are you saying I should resign?" The weight of her words hung heavily in the air. "Yes, there's no need to keep someone who can't do productive work, right?" Brittany added, a faint smile playing on her lips. I looked at her in silence, absorbing the realization that I was being pushed towards resignation. "Don't you think the company needs young, promising talent? It's better to get rid of unproductive, salary-stealing old-timers early on," she whispered, the words sending a chill down my spine. Brittany's exaggerated smile lingered as she leaned in and whispered, "Useless old-timers like you are fired today. We don't need you, haha." The words hit me like a punch to the gut. I felt a mix of emotions, anger, hurt, and a pang of regret for being outmaneuvered into resigning. "If you're firing me, I'll accept it," I finally said, my voice steady but my heart heavy. As Brittany nodded in agreement, I couldn't help but feel a sense of helplessness. "We both agree that it's best for you to resign," she stated, revealing a cruel satisfaction. "You don't need to come in tomorrow." With a heavy heart, I began packing up my belongings, my years of dedicated service reduced to a sudden dismissal. As I left the bank for the last time, I couldn't shake the feeling that Brittany's decision had set in motion a chain of events that would have far-reaching consequences for the bank and its future. The aftermath of my unexpected termination rippled through the bank, leaving chaos and uncertainty in its wake. The news of my departure had a profound impact on the clients and colleagues who had come to rely on my experience and dedication. Within days, the fallout began. Longtime clients, including one with a staggering $700 million in deposits, started canceling their accounts in protest of my dismissal. The once stable financial institution faced an unprecedented loss, the total sum reaching a staggering $2 billion. The sudden exodus of clients cast a shadow of doubt on the future of the branch. In the break room, conversations buzzed with disbelief and anger. Colleagues voiced their frustration, grappling with the repercussions of Brittany Wilson's unilateral decision. How could she just fire Gloria like that? We rely on her so much. One colleague exclaimed, the sentiment echoed by many. Another added, that woman has no idea who we are going to turn to in difficult times now. Exactly. It's not just us. Many longtime customers depend on Gloria too. A third chimed in. The atmosphere was charged with resentment towards Brittany, who seemed oblivious to the discontent brewing within the bank. In the midst of the turmoil, the assistant manager confronted Brittany, his anger palpable. Why did you arbitrarily decide to fire Gloria without consulting anyone? Did you even consider the impact on the clients? He demanded, frustration evident in his voice. Brittany, seemingly unfazed, responded with a dismissive tone. I heard you recently let go of Gloria, who had been working here for many years. Were you unaware of her reputation? Gloria was highly regarded, even at the headquarters. The assistant manager, now realizing the gravity of the situation, expressed his dismay. Gloria was trusted so much by the clients that they felt comfortable only with her. Didn't you know? Your decision is absurd. Plus, you fired her while I was away on business. If you had consulted me, I would have never allowed you to fire her. Brittany was left speechless and trembling as the consequences of her actions unfolded before her. The fallout extended beyond the immediate losses. It put the very survival of the branch in jeopardy. Michael, a representative from the headquarters, visited the bank to assess the situation. We will have a board meeting to discuss this matter. We have reviewed your work history, Brittany. You have increased contract numbers through forceful methods. There have been numerous complaints from both staff and customers at your previous branches, all related to your clients. Brittany, now facing the repercussions of her brash decisions, looked on in disbelief as the consequences of her actions became clear. The once thriving bank now stood on the brink of a crisis, with the fate of the branch hanging in the balance. The internal conflicts at the bank intensified as the repercussions of Brittany Wilson's decisions reverberated through the once stable institution. Colleagues, fueled by frustration and discontent, confronted each other in heated debates, questioning the legitimacy of Brittany's authority and the wisdom of her management choices. In the break room, hushed conversations turned into passionate discussions about the dire situation. This can't go on. Brittany's decisions are tearing this bank apart. One employee lamented, voicing the shared sentiment of many. The assistant manager, struggling to maintain order amidst the turmoil, confronted Brittany with a blend of anger and panic. I heard you recently let go of Gloria, who had been working here for many years. Were you unaware of her reputation? Gloria was highly regarded, even at the headquarters, he argued, hoping to make Brittany grasp the gravity of her actions. Brittany, however, remained defiant, attempting to justify her decisions. I don't see the big deal. If we need to make changes for the better, we have to take bold steps, she retorted, oblivious to the internal strife she had ignited. As the conflicts escalated, headquarters decided to intervene and conduct an investigation into the matter. Michael, a representative from the higher-ups, arrived at the bank to assess the severity of the situation. The tension in the air was palpable as he held a meeting with Brittany and the assistant manager. We will have a board meeting to discuss this matter. We have reviewed your work history, Brittany. You have increased contract numbers through forceful methods. There have been numerous complaints from both staff and customers at your previous branches, all related to your clients, Michael informed, his stern expression signaling the gravity of the situation. Brittany, for the first time, seemed to comprehend the magnitude of the crisis she had created. I don't see why everyone's making such a fuss. I'm here to make this branch successful, she argued, her defensiveness betraying a lack of understanding of the intricacies of the bank's dynamics. Michael continued, unyielding. Gloria was highly regarded even at the headquarters. Your decision to fire her unilaterally, without considering the consequences, has caused irreparable damage to the bank's reputation. We need stability and trust from our clients, not hasty decisions that jeopardize our standing. The assistant manager seized the opportunity to express the collective sentiment of the staff. We've been facing daily challenges since Gloria left. The clients, the backbone of this bank, have lost faith. We need her back, and we need a change in leadership. As the implications of Brittany's actions became undeniable, the branch faced an uncertain future. The internal conflicts and headquarters intervention set the stage for a pivotal moment that would determine whether the bank could recover from the tumultuous events that had unfolded. The atmosphere in the bank remained tense as the fallout from Brittany Wilson's decisions continued to unfold. The impending board meeting at headquarters loomed, casting a shadow over the uncertain fate of the branch. As internal conflicts simmered, a faint glimmer of hope emerged with the potential for redemption and a chance for resolution. Days passed, and Brittany, confronted by the impending consequences of her actions, began to reflect on the gravity of the situation. The internal strife within the bank was reaching its peak, with colleagues voicing their discontent and questioning the leadership that had led to the unprecedented loss of clients. In a surprising turn of events, the assistant manager, driven by a sense of responsibility and loyalty to the bank, sought a meeting with Brittany. "We can't let this continue. The board meeting is our chance to rectify the situation," he urged, attempting to bridge the gap between conflicting perspectives. Brittany, though initially resistant to acknowledging her missteps, began to grasp the severity of the situation. "Maybe I underestimated the impact of my decisions, but I'm here to make amends and prove that I can lead this branch to success," she conceded, a hint of humility breaking through her usual assertiveness. The assistant manager nodded, recognizing the opportunity for redemption. "We need stability and trust. Bringing Gloria back would be a step in the right direction. The clients trusted her, and we can't afford to lose their confidence any further." As the board meeting approached, Brittany, fueled by a newfound determination, reached out to me. "Gloria, I want to apologize for the way things were handled. I believe in your capabilities, and your return could help us rebuild the trust we've lost. Will you consider coming back to the bank?" she asked, a genuine plea in her eyes. I, torn between the bitterness of my abrupt departure and a sense of responsibility to the bank and my colleagues, hesitated before responding. "I appreciate the apology, Brittany. The bank means a lot to me, and if my return can contribute to its recovery, then I'm willing to come back," I replied, my decision driven by a commitment to the institution I had dedicated over 3 decades to. The news of my potential return rippled through the bank, sparking a mix of relief and anticipation. Colleagues, who had been vocal about their discontent, cautiously embraced the possibility of stability and a chance to rebuild what had been fractured. The board meeting at headquarters proved to be a pivotal moment. Brittany, armed with a newfound sense of humility and a commitment to change, presented a plan to rectify the situation and rebuild the trust that had been shattered. The board, recognizing the gravity of the losses and the need for a course correction, approved the plan. In a surprising turn of events, the board not only accepted my return, but also acknowledged the critical role I played in the bank's success. Brittany, humbled by the experience, stepped back to reassess her management approach, allowing for a collaborative leadership style to emerge. As I stepped back into the familiar halls of the bank, the reception from colleagues was a mix of relief and gratitude. The return marked a turning point, a chance for redemption, and a collective effort to rebuild what had been lost. The internal conflicts began to dissipate, paving the way for a renewed sense of unity and purpose within the bank. The chapter closed with a sense of optimism, the bank poised for recovery under a redefined leadership and a collective commitment to regain the trust of the clients who had stood by its side for years.